Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Deez. This is my workshop. Today I'm going to do another top 5 video. If you don't like those, you can close out the video and skip on, but I'm hoping to put these kinds of videos out very rarely, but on occasion for those that are still on the fence whether to get into the hobby or not get into the hobby, whether you're going to buy a mill, a lathe, or both machines. And I thought I would share the top 5, or at least top 5 mistakes that I can think of right now that I made along this year and a half experience that I've had with the lathe and the mill. So let's get started with the top 5 mistakes that I made throughout this hobby. The first mistake I made was assumptions. A lot of assumptions around tooling, how the tooling works, how the accuracy of the tooling is. For example, parallels. Once I got the mill, the parallels, I assumed, not good to do that the parallels were flat and true. And when you're tramming in your vise, there's actually a flex. If a friend of mine put his parallels to show me on a surface plate, and you can actually push the corners, and he showed me that those parallels are not flat. They're meant to be parallel. The top edge of those are parallel, so the two pairs are ground precisely on the top. They're not meant to be flat on, I'm probably going into this too deep, but they're not meant to be flat on this plane. There could be a little warpage. They're meant for parallel surfaces top to bottom. So I assumed that kind of stuff. I assumed accuracy of cheaper tooling. I assumed that I assumed a little too much of myself on my abilities, that I'd be able to start right in here and just get going. You know, the first day you unbox these machines, you kind of stare at them. And again, remember, my background is I've never used any of this. I wasn't an apprentice in a machine shop. It wasn't something that I did as a career. It's just an interest I have. So I never used a machine. I just found myself just staring at the machines, thinking, okay, now I have this thing, what do I do? So, you know, and then there's assumptions about cost. You think, okay, this is $1,000 machine, a $500 machine, $1,500, whatever you buy, and then you think that's it. That's not it. You need more money. So let's move on to number 2. Number 2 is I bought too much cheap tooling. Harbor Freight is an easy go-to. The internet with Amazon or eBay, it's easy to buy the cheap stuff. I'm not saying that the cheap stuff isn't good. These parallels are fine. These are Chinese made. Most of my tooling, when you're talking about angle blocks and some of the accessories you buy for the lathes, it really is expensive. This isn't a job shop. This isn't a shop for hire. This is my own personal hobby shop. I got no business buying all Starrett tools or all Mitutoyo. I would love to, but there's no way on earth that I could afford that or justify that for this hobby in my home. And quite frankly, a lot of the cheap stuff is fine, but there's some exceptions. Things that really need to be accurate and precise, you got to stay away from Harbor Freight. I'm just telling you. You will buy again. Drill bits, stay away from them. Tap and die set, stay away from it. The squares, combination squares, things like that, stay away from that crap. It's made very poorly. We all know it's made very poorly, but it's crap. And what you're going to end up doing is working on a project and end up more frustrated than happy with your outcome because of the quality of the tooling you're using. So be very mindful on what you're buying. Do some research. Look at my videos, some other people's videos, or post comments. People will answer. I'll answer. Should I buy this? Should it be Harbor Freight? There's a lot of people that will comment and say, buy it right, buy it once, spend the money. And they're right. However, again, I'm not producing products to sell. This is just for my own hobby, and I can't justify buying everything stare it. But there are some exceptions where you really just need to bite the bullet. And I recommend you do it off the bat. Don't buy it if you don't have it until you're ready, until you have the money to get something proper. Tap and dies were one of my biggest challenges. The first tool post that I bought, that thing was 30 bucks. It was aluminum. It was okay. I didn't know what I was doing. I drilled out the bottom of it. I don't mind wasting or blowing that thing. It doesn't matter to me. It's all in the name of learning at the time. But I quickly realized I didn't like that thing, and I upgraded to an AXA. So I've bought tools several times. I'm upgrading my drill bits, for instance. I'm going to get a new tap set or replace the taps as they break or I need them. Anyway, so that's number 2. Don't always go cheap on the tooling. I understand we're all on a budget, or many of us couldn't even do this without those cheap tools. I get it. I'm the same boat. I'm still going to buy that stuff occasionally, but don't buy everything that's the cheapest it is, because you're going to rebuy it. So I've made some mistakes on some of the purchases I've made with those cheap things. So moving on to number 3. This should probably be number 1 of the top 5 mistakes, but this isn't necessarily in order. It's just the things I can think of. Ignoring safety. I ignored safety for far too long. I didn't get hurt. Fortunately, I think I might have cut my finger on some swarth. You know, being stupid, moving it with my hand. Get right off the bat. Get in a good habit of not ignoring safety. Safety is super important. I religiously wear glasses now. It really clicked when I got the mill. That thing flings chips everywhere, and I'm thinking, boy, it sure is stupid not to be wearing glasses. It's a very real possibility I'm going to get shards of something in my eyeball. And now I wear them. It's a no-brainer. I should have done it a long time ago. You know, if you're working with chemicals and you're concerned about that, get a respirator or mask or something like that. Watch your long hair or long sleeves. It's cold. I'm in the Midwest. I'm going to wear long sleeves, so don't tell me not to. My ring, I'm not taking it off. Don't tell me not to. But you should, proper etiquette or proper safety is to take your ring and don't use long sleeves. At least they're not loose sleeves. They're, you know, you just have to be careful. There's stories of people, you know, they put comments in and they worked in machine shops. People's hair will get caught up in the mill spindle on the top where you can loosen your drawbar. That thing's spinning. It's whipping around there. You get your hair tangled in there, it ain't gonna feel good. Same with the lathe. If you bash a knuckle or, you know, get your sleeve caught in it, or you're holding a rag, or it's very dangerous. So don't ignore safety right off the bat with these machines. Even though you don't have a boss looming over your shoulder, make yourself follow safety protocol. It's in your best interest. Let's move on to number 4. Number 4 was underestimated the total cost. I've mentioned this in so many videos, but I just have to mention it again. The machines aren't the cost of, they're big spend in a purchase. But if you don't have any tooling, if you didn't come from a background, those costs will add up and continually add up, and otherwise you're not going to be able to work on projects. You're not going to be able to work on certain things. You're just going to be stuck spinning some metal and turning it down. You're going to need tooling. You're going to need different things for threading. You're going to need different kinds of tooling, knurling, or whatever you're doing on the lathe. The mill, and mills are really, mills at a whole nother level. The mill takes it to another level. And mills are expensive, especially when you get to carbide. But then there's all kinds of different, you have shell mills, end mills, carbide tipped end mills, fly cutters. There's so many different things. Reamers, if you get into any sort of accurate precision or you need proper holes, you're going to have to look into getting reamer sets. There's the vise. You need to decide, do you want to get the R8 collets? Do you want to use some ER32 or ER40 collets with a collet chuck adapter? You're going to need a drill, probably a drill chuck that goes into your R8 spindle, or at least an adapter for your R8 setup. It really adds up. Do you want a DRO? There's another 500, 1,000 bucks, 300, whatever you decide to buy. It really adds up. However, those are the things that make it fun. You can work on different projects, you can come out with different finishes, you play around, but plan to have more money than just the machine. Otherwise, you're going to be limited on what you can do. So, costs are another big thing, big mistake. I didn't realize just how much more money I was going to need as I work through this hobby. Finally, understanding just how much there is to learn. I underestimated how much there really is to learn in this. I understand why there's apprenticeships in these shops. It takes years of practice and years of knowledge transfer from the experienced folks out there. Many of you watching, you worked in machine shops for decades, and you're just watching my silly channel with me learning this, and in many respects, you are my mentors, helping me learn as I put these videos out. And I appreciate all that. I wouldn't be as far along as if it wasn't for you. But I really underestimated how much there was to learn. I mean, there's techniques and terms and safety and the different kinds of tooling, the measuring instruments, between micrometers and calipers and all those. You're going to use all that stuff on every project pretty much. There's a lot to learn. Take your time, enjoy it. Don't underestimate the knowledge of people out there as well. If you're coming across other channels and you're reading their comment sections or watching their videos, there's a lot of smart people making videos out there. This isn't one of those channels. This channel is just me hanging out in the garage and sharing my experiences with all of you. I haven't graduated to teaching type videos. Anyway, I'll give you a bonus one. Here's a big mistake that I made. I made an attempt, it's kind of funny, at trying to make a video to teach you all something that I knew nothing about, very little about, and that's speeds and feeds. I got most of the concepts right, but I shared it with someone, got some good feedback. I canned that video. It was bad. You could clearly tell that I was fumbling through it. I didn't know what I was talking about. I've got no business making videos with an attempt of teaching anybody. The way that you're going to learn from my videos are going to be me doing my projects, making my mistakes or my successes, failures, and all that stuff. And hopefully it's just for entertainment. You're just here hanging out with me in the garage and we're all learning together. But anyway, those are the top 5 mistakes that I wanted to share with you that I can recall since I started making these videos and getting into this hobby. I hope you enjoyed. I hope to see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.